I say a lot of people wonder exactly where things came from and everything else like that. I mean, Lucifer Star, you can trace like back in the old days. Like I say, I mean, I'm Lucifer Star of the old days. You know, the old horse and buggy days, white horses, stuff like that. The Lippin Stallions, genetic code that actually changes them from being brown or black into white horses. It's a cool little trick, like a surprise. Anyway, though, it's just something cool that I could do. Like I say, I do a lot of cool things, a lot of really awesome things. The LS Titanic, the LS Slate Yard, the LC LS. Well, there's LS Slate and LC Slate, I believe, like that. And it was a joke. Everybody thought there was a person that working there named Slate. Anyway, though, but there wasn't, of course. Anyway, though, there's a lot of things like. Old maps and stuff like this. This is a map for a game, but the cool thing about stuff is that there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of history in the Old West, and there's a lot of history in America and stuff like that. I mean, America was dangerous. I mean, protecting my trains was the biggest problem, of course. I mean, I owned all the steam trains, the big old steam trains, and we had ways of getting steam trains to stop to pick up people, and people, steam trains were much like basically land-based ships, you might call them, like just like the LS Titanic and L and the Leviathan. My steam trains were much like that. They would go from one side of the country to the other side of the country, and they're basically kind of run down now. And well, I mean they were anyway. I've been constantly been investing in the steam trains and at one point in time, of course, like basically JFK pretty much they tried to start this Republican thing, giving away free soda pop and all kinds of stuff out of the back of my White Star trains. And it's like, and I was like, no, those are my trains, and that's my soda that I'm giving away. It's not the Republicans. It's not that. It's not this. They're, it's they're my trains, and I was the one giving away the soda and stuff like that. And also like, anyway, they were doing all this stuff, and they were actually promoting themselves and not me, which they were supposed to be promoting me, LS Lucifer Star. Anyway, though, but throughout history, you can look inside the records and you will find all kinds of old maps and stuff like that. Like I say, that my maps were really cool. They were printed on things like real skin, like lamb skin or cow skins, as well as there's also like the paper ones or whatever, papyrus paper printed things, and also getting the first color maps also as well, and also topographical maps and stuff like that. So it's more than just and I think there were some maps where we stamped them in using a steam press. You go and it burns it in to the lambskin and gives it a little bit of an indentation, so you can kind of feel or see the difference in elevations and stuff like that a little bit. Anyway, though, but yeah, and then running printed stuff over it. I mean, it's really complicated. We did a lot of really sophisticated, kind of cooler stuff back in the day. Next level, not really next level. I mean, it was just we were just pushing the limits of what is. Anyway, though, but in more recent years, I mean, my little bobcats and my little tractors and stuff like that. In the old days, only big tractors, roamed around. And then, of course, getting smaller tractors with rubber tires and all that other stuff. Although, in the old days, we used a lot of steel wheels and a lot of steel rims as just like the traction engines. Like I said, I had gears. We had gear reductions, and you would know my chevron gears and my other gears, and stuff like that. My gear manufacturing and stuff like that. But also horses, cannons, and stuff like that. I mean, it was all LS and LC and Lucifer Star, me. Um, anyway, gold stuff, silver stuff, also silver bullets, gold bullets, silver stars, gold stars. The sheriffs that and other things like that, and also printed things. First printing presses, like I say, from China to England to New York and California and the United States of America, or just America. Even in Mexico, like I said, I love you, Mexico. Like I said, a very wonderful Pancho Vinalina was her name. Her name was Pancho Vinalina, which basically translates to pretty much, I think, something woman or something like that. I don't really know. You have to go talk to the old Mexicans. Anyway, I gave the country to her as she was she had notified me, and she was a wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous, fiery woman that loved to drink and smoke and have sex. And she had 3 men hanging off her at one time. Anyway, she was a wonderful woman, and I never really got a chance to meet her, but eventually she decided to go ahead and get married and finally submit to only one man, which she fell in love with and had lots of children with. Anyway, she was a wonderful woman, and she gave lots of Mexican daughters to me and all kinds of stuff like that, and she was wonderful and beautiful, and I ended up giving her the whole country because, well, she was there, and I didn't really need all that much land. So she was taking care of it, and eventually, like I say, she was wonderful and female, and I loved her very much. Not even though I never really knew her, I just knew that she was a woman. Anyway, and eventually, bad things would happen to her and me, and basically us, pretty much, as the federales were working for Roosevelt or someone, and not what's it called? But we pushed them back out of Mexico and stuff like that. And I'm not really sure what happened. A lot of my people that I supported and cared about would get hurt and stuff like that. And it was a hard, rough and tumble way of living. And people were trying to get me to give up money to go chase down my own people, and I didn't want to do that. So I was very careful. And Irishmen and Germans and everybody else would eventually journeymen. It's very complicated anyway, though. I love Mexico, and my heart will always be in Mexico to some degree, as I gave it away, and they saved me and supported me and helped me as I was giving them so much land, because I own Mexico, like I say. I bought it when it was just a desert and there was no one there, and then we put in a pipeline and made it into a real city and a real township and a real place of actually living that was habitable to many, many, many different little children. So anyway, and also movies and stuff like that, and Pancho Vinalina actually even got her men to dress up nicely, even though they didn't want to. So anyway, and stuff like that. And anyway, whatever, it's lost to history now. But I am Lusifer Star of LS, and lots of gold and lots of nice trains and everything else like that. And well, we run a tight ship around here, and also feeding and helping and doing great things as well. So anyway, that was many, 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 many years ago. And later on, I would invent the first teletype or multi-typeable typewriter, and that would eventually be made into an electronic device that could be hooked up to a computer to actually print documents. The old thing that used the band that went back and forth, and it uses an 8-sided ball head that would go chick, 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 and have like 250 or 68 characters on it, or letters, basically, and it could print out documents and do all kinds of stuff. And basically, those were very successful and sold millions of those, and were a good way of printing that anyone could just be able to write documents or write reports or anything like that and print it. So anyway, and also like the IBM computer, as well as later on the Apple and stuff like that, were computers that I wanted to have done and built, and probably poured millions of dollars and had thousands of people working on them, as I believe computers were the future. So anyway, yes, and of course drugs, cocaine, and methamphetamine, and all kinds of other stuff were also my projects, and were very successful, as people loved them and couldn't get enough of them at some point in time, and enjoyed sex and ecstasy, and also drugs like ecstasy and stuff like that. Yes, they would say the devil's drug or whatever, but it's not the devil's. It's or Delvin's drugs. I don't really know, but basically it's Lucifer Star drugs. That's why it's called LSD, Lucifer Star drug. So anyway, also the LS F-A colony ship and all kinds of other stuff. So while I've been forgotten, and Rodney has basically been trying to basically stomp me down and try and pretend like I didn't exist, I do exist, and I did exist. And I have 12 other types of life forms that I created, exoskeletons and endoskeletons, and also 1.5 foot tall people. So anyway, and America, and also that's why the Lusitania and the Lusitania Airbuses and stuff like that. Anyway, and I get mad and angry at certain people because, I'm Lucifer Star. And no, Abraham Lincoln cannot adopt me.